Good morning, my dear kids. Today's, I think you have the exam syllabus is the work buoyancy, center of mass, collisions, and other things. So what we do is like I just picked up some around 20 numericals. So related to that, we'll try to discuss some numericals. So today, let me discuss the problems on some problems related to collisions, circular motion, and work done. So there are some mixed concept numericals is what I just brought it. So let me start the class. The topic is very generalized if you see all these things. So we have, I'll draw the, read the question. Meanwhile, I'll set the, okay, there's a block which will be placed and the whole system lies on smooth horizontal surface. Look at the question that is given. So we do have another block which is placed on the okay, let's discuss the concept now. And that is a cavity. That blue color one is what cavity is what I'm trying to show. So here is what we have a pulley. Then the thick rope. Okay, get into the problem. So this is the block A. This is the block B. And let this be the wedge C. The mass of this is 2m. That we will write that one instead of writing m, all that one. So the weight of this will act vertically down and string will become taut. This will be the tension. This will be the tension. Asking find the instant power developed by the gravity, instantaneous power. You see this. I suggest you, we have very less numericals on the power. Am I right? Go back to all the wedge constraints. There, the tension, what is the tension into velocity will be the power generated by the tension of the rope. Normal contact into velocity of any block or any surface. There will be the power generated by normal contact. Can be asked very general things, I think. So definitely in advanced exam, you may expect questions of these kind. Just be careful. So definitely the IIT process may trouble you with questions of this kind. So usually if you look at in books, we have problems based on power. What we have mass based question. I just brought here a diagram based related to laws of motion. How the acceleration of this in this direction. What direction the wedge will move. I think there's one primary question is what we have to ask it. What is the direction of wedge? The pulley that is connected to the wedge, what forces that are acting, on the pulley, that forces are also acting on the wedge. So therefore, the tension T is acting. So the wedge will move towards left. So the acceleration of the wedge will be towards left. Put it here. This is AC. Then, so this is a thing. So then as it moves, the wedge moves towards left. So what it will do? The wedge moves towards left. Definitely it will push the block. Now, which side of the block will be pushed? Here the block will be pushed like this, right? Here N1 or something. So here N1 will act on the wedge. Here the normal contact N2, the weight mg. I think these are the forces what you can show it. So let's write the equation. So then what about the block B? It will have two accelerations. One ABY, another is ABX. So then as constraint equation, let me apply it. So AC should be equal to ABX because acceleration along common normal should be equal. Then what about ABY? ABY should be equal to A. Let's write all the possible equation. T is equal to M into A. Mg minus T equal to M into ABY. Then T minus N1 equal to 2M into AC. Then N1 is equal to one more. Let me write for the block B. For the block B, N1 should be equal to MABX. Then for the wedge, you write it. This is for block B. This is for block A. So now the wedge, for wedge, it will be T minus N1 equal to 2M into AC. Solving all this, we'll get expression for power developed by the gravity. Means like I should know the power developed by gravity. For that, I should know the velocity of the block B at any time. For that, the acceleration is needed. Solving all this, we'll get the acceleration of the block B. So what is the acceleration of block B? We'll get certain things. So what is the velocity of block B? It should be equal to acceleration of block B into T at any time T. Then what type of acceleration the block B will have? ABY, I'll write it. Now power developed by gravity. Here 2mg will also act, no, of the wedge. Now will it does any work? No. The weight of the wedge will not do work. The weight of the block will not do, but the weight of the block B does work. So the power of the gravity is what? Should be equal to mg into VB only. Mg into, so here we'll put it in a very systematic way, VA bar. I have space, I'll write it here. The power, this should be equal to plus 2mg bar dot VC bar, mg bar dot VBY bar. This is nothing but y component of velocity. So this should be 0. Any reason for that? G bar and VA bar will be perpendicular. I have some idea. So therefore this will be 0, this will be 0. So what will be left over with only VG BY. So that should be equal to mg ABY T. So get acceleration from all these set of equations. Substitute here. This is the power of gravity. So definitely all the wedge constraint problems is what you can take help of for power calculations. It's very good way of learning. And now a few things. So what is the power generated by normal contact on the wedge? Yes, N1 into, it does negative power. N1 does positive work on the block. So all the things are there, no work done. So if you really want to learn work done, go back to laws of motion. Plenty of questions are there. Pick up some 10 wedge constraint problem. You know how to calculate acceleration velocity. Also analyze on the work done. Okay, try this next question. Okay, read this question. First, I think you have to read and understand. Let me start it. There are two blocks are there. I think somehow you have to understand the diagram given. Little bit you will be in a better position, I feel. Meanwhile, you read question, I'll set the diagram. Blocks I cannot draw. There's a one block. There's the other block, and they are connected by a spring. We'll go like this. And they are connected by a string. Okay, this I completed, and let me bring a spring into the picture. So a little bit already, this is a fixed one. The wedge will not move. Here is what? The force. So this is M1, M2. What actually happens here? So look at the force F that is acting. How to get that maximum elongation? What are the conditions for maximum elongation? I think until unless if you don't have this, no way this problem, but better you can avoid this problem. If you don't know what is the maximum elongation conditions, at maximum elongation, what should be the relative velocity should be. So initially, what is the state of them? They were at rest. What is the U relative is 0. This is the very important point. At maximum elongation also, they'll be at rest. The relative velocity will be 0. There's a basic necessity condition. So let this acceleration, in what action they'll accelerate? There's a primary question. So let me assume that all. So this is M3, this one. So let there be acceleration be A2. Sir, why you're putting up or down? I too don't know. So then the spring gets elongated. The weight M1G sine theta. Here only let me wind up rather than going for other problem. M2G sine theta. This is T. This is T. And this will be M3G. So acceleration of M2 and M3 should be same because they're connected by a common string. Let's get into first, we'll get the expression for acceleration. A1 should be equal to M1G sine theta. Masses are there. Okay, later on we'll substitute here. M1G sine theta plus elongation spring Kx by M1. This is the acceleration minus F. Yeah, I included here. This is the acceleration of the block M1. And then similarly, here what are the forces? M1G sine theta, Kx minus F, all divided by M1. That is the acceleration of block M1. What about here? Tension M2G sine theta minus Kx, the spring force should act in this direction here. So this acceleration A2 should be equal to T plus M2G sine theta minus Kx by M2. So this is the acceleration of the second block. What is the basic necessity? And we'll write one more equation, M3G minus T equal to M3A2. Okay, I think this T we can eliminate, substitute there, we'll get expression for A2. So there's the equation 1. Say what we are trying to find out the maximum elongation. We are trying to find out the maximum elongation. The value of T is what I'll substitute there. So this will be A2 is equal to, T should be M3G minus M3A2 plus M2G sine theta, M2A2 I'll write it, minus Kx. So this will become A2 equal to M3G plus M2G sine theta minus Kx equal to M2 plus M3. I think these are the very important equations. 1 and 2 is what I brought it. And let's come back. Okay, this is somehow anybody can write it. The spring will be elongated. Definitely look at the conditions. Sir, will it be compression elongation? Will be elongated. Spring will be elongated right here. Spring is elongated. So therefore, the spring force should act toward the center of that one. So after getting this, what is the condition for maximum elongation? At maximum elongation, the relative velocity should be 0. The relative velocity must be equal to 0. I think this is a primary condition where all you go when the spring comes. No, there's a basic idea. So how to calculate the relative velocity? So for that, I'll go for A relative. A relative equal to A2 minus A1. This, I think, better rather than solving, we can substitute all the values. Will directly end up certain. So here let me calculate A2 and A1 values, so that will be easy for me, because equation will become like this. This will be 10, M2 is 40, theta is 30 degrees. So this will be 20 minus spring constant 1000. This is X. M2 plus M3. M2 plus M3 is 5. Okay, 30 minus 5, this will be 6. This will be 200x. We can save time rather than writing that lengthy equations, no? I think when you do this, you'll get a better picture also. The M1 is 2, 20, 20, this will be G sine theta. I think this will be 5. K will be 1000x. 1000 by M1 is to 500x. Value of F, I'm not seeing F. Oh, okay, 15. 15 by 2, 7.5. 7.5. So this should be equal to 12.5. Is 1000 meter. Okay, this much is what we have. So let me go for the relative acceleration. A relative equal to, you can make this very, very simple. It is. So A relative should be equal to 6 minus 200x. So 6 minus 12.5. I think I have to check my calculation. M1 is 2, no? F by 15 by 2, 7.5. Check once, I think I'm...
Sir, A1 equal to 10 plus 500x, sir. We'll not get 5, we'll get 10.
10, huh? This
yes,
one?
Sir.
M1, 2, 2, 2, this will be 10, 10, this will be 5. K will be 500x. F is how much? 15, no? 15 by 1. M1G sin theta plus Kx minus F by M.
Correct only, sir.
Okay. This one. Sorry. This should be, yeah, correct only, no? I think. 5 minus 7.5 will be 2.5. Minus 2.5. We were adding, no? It should be like a 2.5. Okay, this. No, I think now we'll get it. It's not 12, 2.5. Now, okay, I'm minus of 2.5. So this will become 8.5 minus 600x. What to do with this A relative? I write equal to 8.5 minus 600x. This will integrate. (8.5) dx it is, dx. No. What should be the limits? Limits will be, initially, what was the state? It was 0. Finally, at maximum elongation also, relative velocity should be 0. This will be xn. I think the problem has become very simple with this approach. You try to go any other thing, not possible. You can do by work done, very, 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 very lengthy. Always maximum elongation, there's a condition. What are the forces that are acting?
Sir, it is 700, sir, not 600.
Okay, 700. Yeah. So maximum elongation will be 2.4 centimeter. And I have answer. Now substitute that value of xm, calculate acceleration. If we get negative, what we assumed is opposite. See, it doesn't matter. A1 and A2, sir, are you sure? Maybe A1 will be upward, it will be downward. Or A1, A2, both will be upward. So we are not very sure what actually happened. There's a beauty of this problem. So now we'll substitute. So x equal 2.4. So this will be in meters if substitute no. So you will get it. Acceleration of the system at this instant is asking. I think at maximum elongation, all must have common acceleration. AL2 should be 0. So A1 should be equal to A2. Check it, you'll get it. What do you mean by negative sign? At maximum elongation, blocks will be sliding up. Blocks M1 and M2 will be sliding up the incline. This much is what we are putting here. So if you start jumping into the work done by the gravity, work done by spring force, I think somewhere will get stuck. Very difficult. There's a one answer. There's a one answer. Negative means will slide up. Will be sliding up. We'll go for the next one. I think slowly we entered mechanics. The mechanics numericals will not be tricky like usually mechanics. Tricky problems will be very less. Maximum it will be like some concept will be involved. Okay, now read this question. A block of mass M moving with a velocity V0 on a horizontal. I just wanted to, mechanical energy is asking. The loss in mechanical energy when the block first comes momentarily to rest. What do you mean by mechanical energy? Some energy is lost here. So we'll take that one, friction. So work done by friction only, the question is asked, nothing big. I think this terminology is very important here. How to calculate that, how much of distance the block will move, we don't know. That has to be determined. What I do is like some rough diagram. This is the block is here. It is given velocity V0. And begins to experience a frictional force. And strike the spring. So the very moment it's going to strike the spring here only. We'll have relative diagrams. It'll be easy for us to analyze. So there's a first thing, and what is the state of spring? Spring is relaxed. And then in the next situation, somewhere here, it has compressed the spring. Spring is relaxed, you write it. And then, what are the various forces that are acting? V0, the friction will be in this direction. Spring force will be in this direction. So what is the state of block? Will undergo retardation. And finally, the block, it is going to come to, it will undergo retardation. this V, you write it, put acceleration here. So it has come to now instantaneous rest. Finally, it has come to instantaneous rest. IR, I'll write it in short. So altogether the distance. So let's write some equations. So work done, initial kinetic energy, mv naught square by 2. Work done by spring force, kx square by 2. Work done by friction should be equal to friction force F into dx 0 to x. Finally, it has come to rest here. So mv naught square by 2 minus kx square by 2. Work done by friction. Friction will be mu mg into dx. Look at the mu it is varying. Bx, I'll bring it 0 to x. Bmg x dx. So I'll end up equation like this here. That x is unknown, no? So we wanted work done by friction. What is the work done by friction? Bmg x square by 2. But we don't know x, how to bring the x. I think finally, when it has come here, the spring force will be acting in this direction. Kxm, we'll write it. Maximum compression. I just changed the symbols. This is xm, maximum compression. So this kxm will act in the direction and the friction direction has to be changed. So it will be in this direction. Now that kxm should be equal to f dash, you write it. The friction both cannot be same, no? What is f dash? F dash should be equal to mu mg into mu will be bx. Bxm into mg. Again, we'll end up the same thing here, no? How to bring that xm? Xm is something which has to be the loss in mechanical energy is asking. So the mathematics, what we know is what I proceeded here.
Sir, find xm from the first equation, sir.
I think that's the best alternative. Don't go for equating this. Again, we'll end up the same thing. So xm will be very, very easily, it will come here. So xm is equal to mv naught square by k plus mgb. This value we have to substitute there. This may not help us. So now work done by loss in mechanical energy delta E should be equal to how much? Bmg by 2 xm square. This value of xm will substitute here. Bmg by 2 xm square will be mv naught square k plus mgb whole square.
So that is
xm square. Xm square. So okay, I need not to square it. Yeah. So this will be b g m square v naught square 2. I think that this answer, no? So we do try to get that xm something. Just get it. So what is the maximum compression? Then we can find out. xm value we can find out. There's a loss in mechanical energy. Say mechanical energy. So that this was initial kinetic energy. Only a part of initial kinetic energy is what will be taken by friction. The remaining will be available in the spring. The difference of these two is what? Loss in mechanical energy. Or mechanical energy gained by the spring means you have to write this quantity. Now, the terminology, that words you try to understand, nothing big is there. The rest of mathematics we can manage. Let me take the next one. Consider three identity ball as having, okay, I think there's a very popular problem. Just, it didn't give diagram intentionally. Three identical spheres I'll bring. Okay, this is what I think once you see diagram, okay, everything you feel very easy. Ah, sir, okay, we know this. The initial velocity is u. All are identical. This is B and C, they're at rest. Then it will come and collide simultaneously. Same diagram I made it. So it will collide. Okay, there's a ball A. I think that there's everyone know this problem. It's a way, okay, this will be the line of impact for them. Then after impact, just before collision, it will be like, just after impact, it will come to rest here. So then what should be the velocity of both should be same. The velocity of both the spheres must be same. So this angle should be 30 degrees. So first we'll apply the coefficient of restitution, then we'll check it, is it elastic or inelastic? So this will be 2mv cos 30 degrees is equal to mu. Applying conservation of linear momentum. So v is equal to u by root 3. Then we'll go for final kinetic energy. 2 into of mv square. Why 2 times? Because the kb plus kc is what? The final kinetic energy. No? This will be mu square by 3. What is the initial kinetic energy? Mu square by 2, which will be less kf less than ki. Collision is elastic. Okay, this is ruled out. Collision is elastic and final kinetic energy of system minus initial kinetic energy of system. Substitute the values, you'll get the difference. I think this is a very simple problem. Most of you know it. Quotient of restitution can we find out? Yes, it will be like along the line of impact is what? You have to apply the things. So initial velocity u, they were at rest. After impact, this will start moving with the velocity v. I think this angle is 30 degrees. Equal to v minus 0 equal to u cos 30 minus 0. So v by u cos 30 root 3 by 2. V is u by root 3. So therefore 2 by 3 is what? E. After collision, the ball A will come to rest and the ball B. So you may ask you find the relative velocity of B with respect to C. What is the separation between B and C after some time? Can be mixed with some other ideas here. If the radius of the ball A is less than the radius of B and C, I think you have to get into the collision side here. Option B and C, D, you just verify. It's very simple. Collision, but the final kinetic energy system is less than the initial kinetic. I think this is ruled out. No, this can never be. No. A and D are totally ruled out. So collision is in fact inelastic. Can I ask you also maximum deformation energy? In that case, what you should do? Even for two-dimensional collisions, we can ask you deformation. At maximum deformation, both will have common velocity along line of impact. Impulse of, we know E. From there, we can bring all the other quantities. So try to work out maximum deformation energy of the system. They'll ask you. For A and B, you find out. Twice of that will be the maximum deformation energy. At maximum deformation, both will have common velocity along line of impact. At maximum deformation, both A and B will have common velocity along line of A and B and also A and C. Oh, line of impact is different only for one. No? Both. I'll get back the original thing only. Both A and B will have common velocity along line of impact. Similarly, applicable for now, theoretical questions, you have to be ready for all these things. Along their line of impact, we'll write it. So that sentence along the line of impact. I think very, very simple problem, but I wanted to convey this idea. Here also the maximum deformation can be asked here. Let's take the a ball of mass 2m moving with velocity ui collide with another ball of mass m moving with velocity minus 2 ui. So there is a two balls are there. We'll see what is the basic idea. This is m, ball of mass 2m, moving with a velocity u. Another ball of mass m, moving with 2u. They'll collide. After collision, the mass 2m moves with velocity u by 2 I cap minus j cap. I think it will deflect here. And I'll put the diagram here. Oh, this much is there. So here, it will deflect I cap minus j cap. So I think it should move in this direction now. It should move. We'll call V1 this is. Then the change in kind. In what direction this other ball should move? And I'll put it after collision, before collision. It'll be much easier. How the other ball should move? What is the possible direction you can? Momentum should be conserved, no, for this. So will it move? Shall we put this velocity in this direction? Or shall we put this in this direction? I think this is very important. If I put in this direction, the momentum along y-axis will not be conserved. So if I choose this as possibility, or I can choose this also. Okay, agreed. This one. So let me just begin in this particular way. V2, I'll make it here. So this is making and u by 2 I cap. So this angle, I'm very sure it is 45 degrees, the way it is given. U by 2 I cap minus u by 2 j cap. Can we apply now? What is this? This angle of this, we don't know. Have the data. Sir, is it really balls can move? We are not very sure about what are the conditions, only just we have this much of information. Let's not bother. So is it a ball or a particle? If it is a particle, well and good. Since he said ball intentionally, let's not bother. How do they collide? Okay, before collision, after collision, we have information. I think like this, you have plenty of questions where during collisions, how their position, you need not to bother. Apply conservation of linear momentum along x-axis. So this will be 2mu minus 2um should be equal to 2m u by 2 only plus mv2 cos theta. This is the equation. So this should be equal to 0. This m will get also cancelled. So this will be u plus v2 cos theta. This is the equation 1. Keep it here. Then along y-axis. Initial momentum along y-axis 0. Final momentum must be 0. So that should be equal to mv2 sine theta minus 2m u by 2. So therefore v2 sine theta is equal to 1. Squaring and adding these two, will get v2, then we'll get the theta. Then we'll go for, we'll check the change in kinetic energy of the system. Squaring and adding, so v2 square should be equal to 1 plus u whole square. So v2 is equal to 1 plus u. 1 plus u sine theta equal to 1. Sine theta equal to 1 by 1 plus u. What about the change in kinetic energy? Delta K, we should write it as mv2 square.
Sir, v2 sin theta equal to u, sir.
v2 sin theta equal to u. Huh? That u I missed it, no? Yeah. That u has become 1. Okay, yeah, thanks. And now we'll simplify this. So squaring and adding, I think this will be v2 is equal to root 2u. v2 equal to root 2u, so theta will be 45 degrees. I think we are in now better position. M u square by 2, 2m u square by 2. To m 2u. We know value of v2. v1 value also know. We know the speed of this. Substituting that, we'll get the change in kinetic energy. I think this is, we should not bother about like, so during collision, how they will be. I think it didn't, directly has given the conditions. So let's get into the numerical in this way. If delta K non-zero, inelastic. Delta K 0, it will be elastic. m by 2 will come outside. So this will become 2u square. V1 will be how much? 1 by 2. U square by 4, U square by 4 will be, I think, U by root 2. V1 will be, I think, V1, U by root 2. So substituting V1, m by 2 I took outside. So V1 will be U by 2. So this will become U square by 2. Yeah. Only will take m outside. M by 2, let me outside. So this will be 2m u square 4 mu square. There's a whole bracket. Five u square by 2 minus 6u square. Check calculation. M by 2 we took outside, no? V2 is root 2, so 2u square. V1 is u by root 2, so u square by 2, 4, 5 u square by 2. That is okay. Final contingency, initial contingency. Final will be less. Delta K, I got negative means final will be less here. Okay, this will be 2 6 12 means so minus 7 mu square by 4. None of the options are coming, no? Check my calculations, fine. Is this okay? V2 by root 2u. Okay, somebody. 2mv 1 square. Oh, the mass. Okay, there's the mass of this one, no? Here 1, 2 is missing. V1 is having mass 2m. Yeah, okay, that will become again u square only. Three u square. Okay, we are getting 3u square minus 6u square. M should not be there. Okay, thanks, Asita. I think we once again, I'm stressing the maximum will be troublesome for us, sir. What makes it to move? Let's not bother. His asked question, okay, we'll just work out. But momentum must become the difference. Sir, are they particle? What makes the balls to move? Maybe what happened, the line of impact will not be horizontal. Maybe the line of impact may be inclined. Therefore, after collision, they may move in this direction. Some simple application based impulsive friction is what introduced here. A ball will approach. This also, most of you know it. So that idea of impulsive friction is needed. So that's why I just picked up this problem. There's a before collision and after collision. Let it be in this position. And it will do collide, no? So when it is colliding, so it'll be in We have to show that it will be in contact. What are the methods we have to follow? So this having initial velocity u1 and this is at rest. M2, M1, make it here in this way. There's a line of impact. First, you define the line of impact. I think that's the most foremost thing which is needed in this problem. The moment it comes in contact here, Jn will act, impulsive normal contact. That Jn will act here. In turn, this Jn will press the with this Jn will press the block more into the ground. Jy, let me write it, or G will write it here. Then at the same time, there's also the frictional coefficient between the ground and the block is 0.5. Find the velocity of the combined set just after the collision, assuming limiting coefficient between the block and the ground after collision. Okay, this, and it will stick to it. Okay, what has to be done on it sticks to it. I think that this sentence is very important again. We have done the same problem where it will rebound. It will stick to it. Can we apply conservation of linear momentum along x-axis? Can we apply? Yes, we cannot apply, but impulse momentum equations, what we have to apply? Nothing big is there. First, we'll calculate the Jn. What is the value of Jn? So Jn will become equal to m initial momentum. I'll proceed like this here. M1 U1 cos 37 minus J1 finally equal to 0 along y-axis. It will not rebound. So J1 I'm getting M1 is 9 kg. Sorry, M1 particle of mass M1 1 kg. U1 block with a speed 50. Cos 37 4/5 will be 40 Newtons second. This is what the Jn. Let me write it. No, this Jn will act here, and moreover, there's no friction between the only it gets stuck to it. So what is the velocity of this particular sphere? That should be the velocity of this one also, no? So both must have common velocity after impact. But the moment this impulse acts, it will start moving. Will there be any impulsive friction will act here? This is what JF will write it. Sir, now you have to ask very primary questions. This is having some momentum. It'll go, come, get stuck to it. Agree this. Its horizontal velocity, it was having m1 u1 cos sine 37. It'll come and get stuck to it. Then when do this impulsive friction will come? After acquiring this velocity, or this is a final? I think there's a thing what a student has to really analyze here. See now, what is the net thing? This will act immediately. The moment it collides, Jn will come with it one. And because of this M1 U1 sine 37, so it will try to move, this block will to move, and the impulsive friction will act here. So therefore the equation will be M1 U1 sine 37 minus of JF should be equal to M1 plus M2 into V. Try to see this, there's a equation. JF we don't know. JF should be equal to mu, here JN should be equal to JG, impulse from the ground. Then the JF is equal to how much? I think there's a primary idea. I'll write it neatly. JF is equal to mu JG or mu JN. Do we know JN value? Yes, we have. So substituting all this, we'll get the value of V. So mu is how much? 0.4. So M1 U1 sine theta. 1 into 15 to 3 by 5 minus. Okay, this will calculate value. 0.4 into 40 will be 16. 9 plus 1, 1 plus 9 into V. 10, 30 minus 16, 10V. V is equal to 1.4. Okay, but what is the problem? Like equal to, less than, what shall we write? V equal to root 2, 1.414 is exactly will get 1.4. Root 2 is how much? 1.414. So shall we make less than option? Because root 2 value is 1.414. We are getting exactly 1.4. So it should be less than root 2. Okay, then this is the first time you have come across, because we did problems where this ball will come and rebound. But here it will not rebound. That's what the idea I took here. I'll slide down. We'll take the next one. I'll give some time, at least 2 minutes time. I want you to analyze how you manage this application problem. You know vertical circular motion, so you have to apply just the basic concepts of that. Let me complete the diagram. We can't draw. Hemisphere I can't bring. At least, okay. No. You read meanwhile I'll set the diagram. Very good problem where student has to consider the factors here, like particle moving on an hemisphere. We have done some problems. Here it is, the particle is connected to a rope. So whenever the string comes, I think we have the string, what happened will in fact will help a lot here. Okay, this is our small particle. There's a rope. Let me show it. Afterwards, it'll become horizontal. I think that's what the diagram is. Okay, no. Carefully analyze things. This is what the center will take it. It is moving with an acceleration. That's what he has given. Acceleration at a certain speed. A. The speed of hemisphere is v and the acceleration of hemisphere is a. And this is the string. Hope you are able to this is a particle. He has given that specific angle 30 degrees, then he's asking the conditions. Let me proceed. I'll start with this one. So initially, so let this distance be s. Arc length, let this be theta. So as it moves, what is the position of the point object or the particle? I think it will start sliding down, no? Because as the hemisphere moves towards right, this will start approaching the ground, not vertically. It will move along this curved surface only. So therefore, what is the theta? Theta will increase. Theta is what? Angle made by the line joining the particle with the center with vertical. So this theta is going to increase. That arrow, I'll show it in this way. I think this is the very foremost thing which you have to identify. And let this position be x. What is the length of the string? Constant equation, I'll take help of first. Total length of the string should be equal to L should be equal to S plus X. And what is S? S should be equal to R theta. So I'll differentiate this dl by dt R d theta by dt plus dx by dt. So here this should be 0 because length of the string. From constant equation that has to be constant. So this will become r d theta by dt. The velocity v is decreasing, no? So in fact, we should write minus v. So therefore, this will be r omega equal to v by r. What is that omega? That omega, I'll show it. Now you are into the problem. If you don't discuss this, not possible. What is the speed of particle? It will have tangential speed. The particle will have a tangential speed because how the particle will move with respect to hemisphere will move tangentially. So what is that particle velocity of particle with respect to sphere? Should be equal to r omega. And in fact, what is omega? V by r. So therefore, what is this Vp you should call? Speed of particle with respect to what? With respect to hemisphere. But what is asking the speed Vp and the acceleration Ap of the particle as. Okay, this I got it. Speed of particle. Now, acceleration is asking how to bring the acceleration. So there are two terms is what I'll introduce. So one, and I'll go for a rough diagram. So the particle is here. So it will have this axis will, and the particle is here. I think I have this one. This will be the common normal. Let this be the common tangent. This will be the n cap. Let me define. And let this be the t cap. And this angle we know 30 degrees. I think that these things will help. And there's a particle which is having a velocity Vp. Okay, let's get into this one. And this particular point is also having acceleration. And it is also having velocity. And let me define this convention as positive. Okay, let's get into circular motion along common normal or along n cap. Let me define the equation. So along n cap, acceleration of P, acceleration of particle with respect to hemisphere. Along this one should be equal to acceleration of particle P along common normal minus acceleration of hemisphere along common normal. Relative accelerations. You can ask questions of why you're doing relative, because the hemisphere, if it were at rest, I would have defined very easily. The hemisphere is in motion. So what is the acceleration of particle with respect to hemisphere? That is what V square R. I think already we know. And how it will be directed? It will be directed along common normal. So therefore, this will be positive. Acceleration of particle, this we don't know. Then acceleration of hemisphere along common normal, A cos 30 degree, and it should be positive. Okay, so V square by R plus A by A root 3 by 2. Okay, this is an acceleration along common normal. Okay, what about the tangential acceleration? One quantity we got it, luckily. And then A tangential, how to calculate A tangential? Again, I'll use the same method. Acceleration along common normal. Again, acceleration of point P along common tangent. Acceleration of particle with respect to hemisphere along common tangent equal to APT cap. They are vectors, no? Let me initially write in vector form. Acceleration of particle, I think it is sliding down with a constant speed. So so tangential acceleration should be 0. What is APT? This we don't know. Minus. So what about this? This should be equal to A sine 30 degrees. The vector sum of these two is what? Acceleration of particle. So what is this AP? Acceleration of particle symbols. Let me write it. APN whole square, APT cap whole square. Just be careful with the symbols. Now what is this? What I should call acceleration of particle with respect to ground. But what we calculated here, acceleration of particle, speed of particle, with respect to what? Speed of particle with respect to hemisphere, no, it is. How to calculate with respect to ground? Again, we'll do the vector sum. The velocity of the hemisphere is towards right. Then we'll resolve its x component, y component. Then we'll take the vector sum. We'll get the speed of the particle with respect to ground. Acceleration is very important. Let me show it. That you work out. Okay, I think you see the circular motion. It's very important. Small ideas. This is very important. without this constraint equation, not possible. Let me take the next question. This is some good question I found somewhere. So I just brought it. The center of three spheres, 1, 2, and 3 lie on a same straight line. Sphere 1 is moving with initial speed v1 directed along. There are 3 spheres are there. Let me make a small diagram. This is our situation. Oh. Read the question. Let me fight with this diagram. All are identical, no? I think not possible. Huh? Let me bring another one. The same situation again. I'll increase size of all then. They'll be better. No, get into already. I think I took a lot of time this adjusting. Now let's get into the concept here now. The A, B, C, we will marking 2 spheres. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Masses of the spheres. Masses M1. Okay, M1, M2, M3. Rest. This is rest. And it is moving with a certain speed. Let's assume U. Initial speed V1. That I'll make it U. Get into the concept now. Maximum speed. M3 will acquire maximum speed when something that two masses. How masses can be related here? Is it possible? Something equation of this kind can we bring? Okay, first collision will occur. After first collision, we'll see what conditions will come. Clone. So there's a first collision. So this will be second. I think I am going to show all the description, at least after seeing this, try to work out. So this was the test. So after collision, this will start moving with certain velocity, say V1. This will be V2. Still, this will be a test. This is moving with a velocity, let it move with its own velocity. We are not bothered. This will go in collide. After collision, this will acquire speed V2. This is V3. So this will be V2 dash. M3 will acquire maximum speed. I think that was the condition that is asked. So let me apply the conservation of linear momentum. I think that's the only thing which will help us a lot. Look at all the collisions are perfectly elastic. I think this word is also very important. So first I'll use M1U equal to M1V1 plus M2V2. Then applying quotient of restitution formula, V2 minus V1 by U minus 0. Perfect elastic collision equal to 1. So V2 minus V1 is equal to U. Let me eliminate V1 because V2 is what needed, no, to carry on the problem. So V2 minus U equal to V1. So M1U equal to M1. If you know directly that formula, better 2M1. If you better remember that formulas will be very useful. Okay, this will go in collide. So again, let me apply condition of linear momentum between this. M2 V2 is equal to M2 V2 dash plus M3 V3. M3 will acquire something velocity of V3 is what needed for us. So this will be M2, applying conservation of linear momentum again. V3 dash, V3 minus V2 dash by V2 0. So as E equal to 1. So therefore V2 equal to V3 minus V2 dash. Let me eliminate V2 dash from here. V2 dash will become V3 minus V2. Or else you could have used the same formula, what we had earlier. 2M2 V2 by, no need to solve. You could have used same formula, just replace M1 M2 by M2 M3 and U by V2. Please do remember at least this formula now. This V2 value, let me substitute that M2 by M2 plus M3. This will become 2M1U by M1 plus M2. So 2, 4, M1, M2U by M3 will acquire maximum speed when M2 is equal to. What shall I do here? Clear? Okay. How to bring that mathematical condition here? V3, when it will be maximum, it all depends upon the value of M2. So let me differentiate this with respect to M2. V3, the equation that I'll differentiate with respect to M2, then I'll solve it. I'll get certain condition. So then I can go further. So this differentiating with respect to M2 dV3 by dM2, and I'll equate to 0. So if you look at the advanced, we don't have any numerical till now related to numericals of this kind. You be careful. Possibility of asking conditions of this. This will be your answer. Check it. Maximum focus on the numericals which you have some new ideas, like here. In the collisions, we did so many problems like the maximum speed of the particle of the ball or the sphere 3 depends upon the what mass you pick up of the second one. So I think like this, the collisions know if they really want to, they can go for up to these level also. I have another some good number of numericals are there. So I think there's so tomorrow I'll continue from here. Tomorrow we'll bring the other numericals also. I think almost I'm bringing all this week's syllabus. Tomorrow we'll explore a few more numericals. Tomorrow we'll try to speed up. Thank you all of you. Okay, bye. See you. And